Hey everyone, well thanks for joining us today. I'm Brandon with Keyrenter Denver, and we've got the team here to show you this property. It's in Virginia Village on Holly Street. It's a little 2-bed, 1-bath house, and we'll just be talking through our process right after a tenant moves in of thinking through what we're gonna do, what work is needed to get the property ready to rent it out and find a great tenant for it. So I'm joined here by 2 members of the team. This is Alexis Martinez, she's a property manager. Sean Riley, he's a business development manager for us. So yeah, we're just gonna talk through our process, what we look at, and hope you can learn something from it. So one thing we were talking about here is like, the house looks in really rough shape. It's hard sometimes to tell how much of that is just the moving process, maybe a quick cleaning for the couple of weeks leading up to moving out, and then you have a few days where you're kind of coming and going and moving stuff out and tracking in and out. So sometimes it looks worse than it did when they were actually living here. But there are probably some things that we could have been inspecting for regularly and better stayed on top of. So like the landscaping one thing I'd highlight there of, now it's going to be quite a bit of work, and some things like trees, if you prune them properly and regularly, will kind of have a better shape and just appeal, where like especially on these junipers, if you just have to now come and hack this thing way back, it may be that there's not much green left for now, and it's got to kind of grow back in.
All right, so first thing we do here at Keyrenter when a tenant moves out is we're just gonna take an assessment of the property before we actually start any work. What we call that is our move out inspection, and we'll actually compare that to our move in inspection, an inspection we do before a tenant ever steps foot in a home. So what we're gonna do is send a Keyrenter employee out. They're gonna take photos and videos of the entire home, generate a report, and send that to a property manager like Alexis, and then she'll kind of work her magic.
So once we receive that report, we basically compare it from the move-in inspection prior to the tenant moving in, and then when they actually vacated the property. We literally compare apples to apples, which is perfect. We get to see exactly the condition of what it was prior to them moving in versus when they moved out. And basically it comes down to, did they clean? Is there property damage? What damage would be considered tenant negligence and at fault that we could prove in court should the tenant dispute the property security deposit later on. But really what it comes down to mostly is a deep clean, a carpet clean if needed, any repairs that would be tenant responsibility like light bulbs and any smoke detector batteries. We would be getting rid of their trash and belongings if left behind at the property, and basically just getting it turned back to how it was in previous condition.
Yeah, as you can tell, this property is far from perfect. The tenant really seems like they didn't really make much of an effort to clean the home on their way out, and that's what's catching most of our attention here. As you can see, yeah, it's gonna need a very deep cleaning, and that's honestly gonna eat up most of the security deposit for these tenants, and then leave some for getting it rent ready, paint, security or smoke detector, batteries, paint touch up, those type of things.
Getting all back to code for sure. Out of 250 properties that I manage, it's very rare I'll see one where it comes in this bad. We have tenants who take very good pride of their property and will provide us a cleaning bill so they're not charged out of their security deposit. And then we have tenants who just obviously don't care. And a portion of those tenants, I would say, maybe under 30%, we would get something occasionally like this in a portfolio, but most of the time it's usually a good clean, carpet clean, maybe a couple light repairs, and that's it. Most of the security deposits do get returned. I've had some in full, and most of them do get a big return minus those slight repairs, and then you do have a good chunk that end up owing and going to collections. In the kitchen, as you can see, it has been left in very bad condition. We would clean it entirely. Now, the appliances, The countertops I think are great still. I think they just need a really good deep clean. The cabinets as well, I think they're still in great shape. It would be a deep clean. Now the things that I would look and suggest to an owner, this looks very old to me. The microwaves, the filters alone are already rusting underneath. I would highly suggest that being replaced to ensure the next tenant's functionality and to have the full working of it, as well as the dishwasher. You can see it's kind of bent inside. I would suggest possibly replacing it. And the oven, it looks like it's in good condition. I think it would just need a fairly deep clean. So if I would suggest replacing anything, I think it would just be the microwave. We have great cleaning crews where we can make everything look brand new, and making sure everything's functioning and secured to the wall if needed. Everything else looks fairly good. I'm looking for more, is there cracks? Is there visible cracks? Is there anything in the floor that tells me that's gonna need to be pulled up or replaced? But as far as the kitchen goes, a deep clean and possible microwave replacement.
Yeah, I would say, although you can't see it from the curb, one of the biggest selling points for this property is going to be the backyard. It's got a pretty large backyard. Again, it doesn't have super green grass or anything like that, but just doing a quick cleanup on it. And honestly, some tenants don't even want to see like super robust landscaping and a huge green lawn, because for them that just means a lot of work when it comes to the summer, and a lot of like liability. So highlighting the backyard, cleaning it up, making sure it's tidy and ready for move-in will go a long ways, because I think that's going to catch a lot of tenants' eyes.
It probably appeals to tenants with pets too. You're definitely going to benefit from allowing tenants with pets. So.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Number one reason why I think people upgrade from condos into single family homes is because of pets or kids, so they can play in the backyard. So, having a home with a backyard, if you have that asset, allowing pets is really key.
Also, there is no sprinkler system, so that would be another thing of it's not worth investing in a yard or a bunch of flowers and that kind of thing, and expecting a tenant who wants to rent this type of home to then maintain those items.
So as you can see, the state of this garage is also left in dismay like the rest of the house. What we would do in here obviously is remove all belongings, all tenant belongings, but with the shelves here, anything that's built in shelving, we typically like to leave here. A lot of tenants want the space. They don't like anything that was left behind in the property. If the owner left it, like as far as old paint cans that you would think would stay, they don't want any of that left here. They want to utilize the space. So we would, take everything out, make sure that these are, kind of in good condition. And if they're attached to the property, then we leave them. We don't pull them. We basically just clean this out and get a good broom sweep and make sure it's all set for the next tenant to come in who wants to store their belongings.
So it's undeniable this home is not left in the best condition or a condition that you would like to see as a landlord. But all things considered, I do think this home's gonna shine up really well. And one thing I always look for is the condition of the floors, because a lot of people don't realize, but floors are top 5 most expensive things to replace at a property. And you look at these floors, and there's no carpet in the home, which I love to see, because tenants are really hard on carpet, and there's hardwood floors in here. Although it looks like they had a pet, there's really no significant marring or issues with the wood floors. In the kitchen, it's LVP, which is what I suggest, which is going to be really waterproof, and it looks in great condition. Now the bathroom tile, there are a couple that have cracks, but all things considered, when you have a tenant and leave a property in this type of condition, a lot of times you'll see the floors take a big hit, but I think this owner is going to come out okay with this one. I think a lot just goes back to inspections. Of course, do an inspection before a tenant ever moves in so you can compare that to a move out inspection. But getting eyes on your property and doing routine inspections, although this property, we did a routine inspection a while back and it actually looked really good. It just gives you a chance to look at your property and see if there's any red flags, see if there's anything you want to have a conversation with your tenant about. And it can also help inform you on how you want to handle renewals, how much of a rent increase you might want to do. All of those things kind of come from getting eyes and ears and boots on the ground at your property. At Keyrenter, we actually offer routine inspections to all of our clients. We do move-in and move-out inspections. Those are complimentary. Routine inspections do come at a cost of $85. We cap it at twice a year because tenants do have the right for peaceful and quiet enjoyment. So we don't want to be coming into the home every few weeks. If everything looks good and it's a overall a positive inspection, you can only do 2 a year. Now, if there are issues, we can definitely bump up that frequency.
And I'd also say those inspections come with pictures inside and outside of the house. We go through some just common maintenance items like, looking under sinks, right? Sometimes you get those slow leaks in the P-trap that are slowly eating away at that vanity or whatever. So
furnace filters is a big one that we're always going to look at because that is a tenant responsibility, and making sure that they're replacing those furnace filters can definitely increase the life of your HVAC systems.
Yeah, and we'll provide a copy of that report.
Photos and videos, not just photos, because today's day and age, I think if you just stand in the center of a room and take a real slow video, it can show a lot more, whereas maybe a photo can just miss some issues.
And the other last thing too is owners will sometimes want very specific things checked out. Like, oh, I'm not really worried about the outside, but can you check the laundry room area? I know we just redid it. I want to make sure the flooring is still intact, or anything very specific that we can also notate to the inspectors to check out with more eyes there.
Well, thanks for joining us. I think this is a chance. You saw a property that's kind of in rough shape. For a lot of people, I think you walk in and it feels a little overwhelming of like, how am I going to get this place back into shape to appeal to a good tenant? Certainly something we deal with every day at Keyrenter, and we can help you walk through that process. We'd love to connect with you and just see if we can offer some help. Click the link on below to schedule a call with one of our business development managers.